Today we are going to discuss the analysis of the poem, very important poem, that is Daffodils, in which we are going to study the poetic devices as well. Now for this topic I want you to keep your notebook and pen ready. There are certain points that we are going to discuss. I want you to make the notes of those important points. As I can see, the link has been shared, so quickly join the link. Write your name. Good evening all of you. Janvi. Good evening all of you. How are you, Janvi? Am I audible to you? Please respond. Am I audible? Am I clearly audible to you people? Good evening, Aditi. Those who are online, please respond. Am I audible or not? Okay. I hope that there is no kind of disturbance from my side. So Daffodils poem. Good evening, Shubhi. I hope that there is no disturbance from my side. Okay. Good evening, good evening. As we have already discussed this poem, Daffodils, so today I want you to keep your notebook and pen ready, because we are going to discuss the theme of the poem, the title of the poem, and the introduction, along with the figure of speeches. So it is very important for you to note down each and everything. Good evening, Charu. So I hope that I am clearly audible to all of you. Let's begin. I just want to wait 1 or 2 minutes more. Let the people join. Then I'll start this topic. Those who have joined just now, let me tell you that keep your notebooks and pen ready, because there are certain important points of this poem Daffodils, though we have discussed the stanza. Today we are going to discuss the theme of the poem, the title, the introduction of the poem, and along with the figure of speeches. So it is very, very necessary for you to keep your notebook and pen ready to jot down the points, as you can use these points as keywords in your exams. I hope firstly let's focus on the first paragraph that says the introduction of the poet. Okay, Daffodils is a lyric poem. First of all, this is a very important point. If the theme or the central idea comes, you have to start writing your answer by mentioning this word, that Daffodil is a lyric poem. Lyric poem means this poem is wonderfully narrated, just like a song. Okay, when the poems are narrated just like a song, those poems are known as lyric poem. So write it. Daffodils is a lyric poem by William Wordsworth. It is Wordsworth's most important work. The poem was inspired by an event on 15th April 1802, in which Wordsworth's sister Dorothy came across a long belt of daffodils. Now, this is the extra information which you have not got in your book, in your poem. Okay, now this is very important. Why it is important? When you write this introduction of the poem by mentioning these lines that the poem was inspired by an event on 15th April 1802. So it is better for you to learn this date, okay, and while writing the answers related to the introduction or the theme or the central idea, you can start writing by these lines. So you will have more opportunity, more chance to fetch good marks, because the teacher will also, whosoever will be checking your notebooks, she or he will be easily understood that you people have a knowledge. So this is a very interesting way and a better way to start writing the answer related to the theme or the central idea. So you can start by writing that it is a lyric poem. The poem was inspired by the event on 15th April 1802, in which Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy came across a long belt of daffodils. This poem was somewhat written between 1804 and 1805. In 1804, by Wordsworth's own account, it was first published in 1807 in the poems in 2 volumes. So this part is not very necessary. You can only mention the point that is the poem was inspired by an event on 15th April 1802. Okay, so when it was published, it was published in 1807 for the first time. Wordsworth revised the poem in 1815. This is also very crucial information. When you write the answer, you can start writing that this poem is introduced by William Wordsworth in the year 1807. After that, this poem is again revised in the year 1815. He replaced dancing with golden along with beside and 10,000 with fluttering. Okay, dancing with golden, डांसिंग को उसने एक्सचेंज किया गोल्डन से और अलॉन्ग को एक्सचेंज किया उसने बिसाइड से एंड 10,000 हैज़ बीन एक्सचेंज्ड विद फ्लटरिंग एंड ही देन एडेड अ स्टैंजा बिटवीन द फर्स्ट एंड द सेकेंड एंड द चेंज लाफिंग टू जोकन. जोकन मीन्स अ jovial mood, a happy mood. So after doing these minor changes in the poem, then he published the final version of the poem in 1815. So this is the very important thing. Okay, whenever you start writing the central idea, as I already told you people, or the theme comes, then if you are starting like this, it is beneficial for you and the chances are more that you will get good marks, better marks than the other students. Okay, and one more important thing, why I'm making you people write all these points, because when you see the copies of the toppers of the boards of class 10th and 12th, जब भी आप लोग टॉपर्स की कॉपी जो कभी कभी आप देखिएगा, सर्च करिएगा गूगल पे, विकीपीडिया पे, टॉपर्स की कॉपी अवेलेबल रहती है. ठीक है, टॉपर्स की कॉपी में आप चेक करिएगा इंग्लिश की, उस टॉपर्स जितने भी होते हैं, they frame the answers like this. That is why they become toppers. Okay, and you must have heard a very famous saying that what is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary? That is the only word, extra. Am I right or wrong? So this extra word in ordinary makes a person extraordinary. And when you use this art, actually this is an art. English is totally based on art. The art of writing answers, the art of explaining the things. Okay. So that is why I'm making you people note down these important points. You can see the copies of the toppers on Google platform. You will find that how the toppers start their answers. So this is what the thing is. Okay. So in future, do remember that whenever the question comes related to all these points, you have to begin the answers with this. Then only you will be getting extraordinary marks. Okay, after that, he then added a stanza between the first and the second and changed laughing to joking. The last stanza was left untouched. The plot of the poem is simple. In 1815 revision, Wordsworth described it as rather an elementary feeling with simple impression, approaching to the nature of an ocular spectrum upon the imaginative faculty rather than an exertion of it. So this poem is totally based on imagination. Okay, though it was given in the first paragraph, in the first few lines, that William Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy came across a long belt of daffodils. Okay, he actually visited along with his sister to the long belt of daffodils, where he got so much mesmerized that in 1815 he finally, wrote down that poem, and the poem was published in the market. But other things that he mentioned in the poem is totally imaginative. So this is the proper way of starting an answer. Now let's talk something about title and theme of the poem. The title Daffodils is a simple word that reminds us about the arrival of the spring season. Yes, this is an important point, key word which you can use. The title Daffodils is a simple word, okay, that reminds us about the arrival of which season? Spring season, when the field is full of daffodils. Daffodils are yellow flowers having an amazing shapes and beautiful fragrance. A bunch of daffodils symbolize the joys and the happiness of life. This is also an important point, key point. The bunch of daffodils क्या symbolize करता है? It symbolizes joy and happiness of life. And this poem is mentioning which season? The spring season, where the environment and the weather is totally pleasant, and you can see the greenery all around you and the beautiful flowers, just like daffodils, which are yellow in color and have amazing shapes and beautiful fragrance. After that, the theme of the poem Daffodils is a collection of human emotions inspired by nature that we may have neglected due to our busy lives. So in this poem, the main theme is that the poet wants us to connect with the nature, as we human beings are so involved in our daily lives, in our materialistic world, that we neglect the beautiful nature, okay, that we neglect the beauty of nature, we neglect the soft breeze, we neglect the birds chirping, we neglect the beautiful trees all around us, we neglect even the flowers. We are so much engaged in our busy schedule that we neglect all these beautiful things that have been given to us by the nature. So the main theme is that the poet is trying to make us connect with the nature once again. So the theme of Daffodils is a collection of human emotions inspired by nature that we may neglect due to our busy lives. The daffodils imply beginning of rebirth of human beings blessed with the grace of nature. Okay, so once in a life we have to stop ourselves. Once in a life we have to stop ourselves from the busy schedule, and we have to be connected with the nature in order to know that what God has given to us actually. But still neglecting, we are focusing on different things like purchasing mobile, luxury cars, earning lots and lots of money, okay, establishing career and all other things, by which we keep on ignoring all these beautiful and natural things which the divine has given to us. I hope that this much you people have understood. If yes, then please acknowledge me. Okay, Ridhima says yes. What about others? Have you people understood? Okay, I suppose that you people are jotting down these points. So, what it says, the daffodils imply beginning or rebirth for human beings blessed with the grace of nature. The arrival of daffodils in the month of March, it is also very important. The arrival of daffodils, and when the daffodils arrive in the month of March, and March is known as the spring season, is welcome and an enjoyable time to appreciate them. Like many of Wordsworth's poems, the central idea of daffodils is the beauty of nature. Now this is the second theme. Daffodil का दूसरा theme क्या है? Beauty of nature. The speaker encounters a field full of daffodils waving in the breeze and is overcome with the delight watching them. After leaving the field, he often thinks of the flowers when he is bored or melancholy. Melancholy means sad, and the memory of their beauty and cheer once again brings him joy. So here, when we discuss this poem, we come to know that the same thing happened with William Wordsworth. He was also enjoying the scene, the beautiful scene of the daffodils, and after that, in the last stanza of the poem, he says that whenever I become sad, whenever I become melancholic, okay, whenever I feel lonely, I just do one thing. I just remind the beautiful scene of daffodils which I have witnessed, and that makes me feel better once again. So this is the power of nature. At the beginning of the poem, the speaker is feeling lonely and sad. तो शुरुआत जो पोएम होती है वो नेगेटिव में होती है, नेगेटिव टोन में. You can note down this point that the poem begins on a negative note, wherein the poet William Wordsworth feels lonely and he is very sad. As he walks along, he sees a large area of daffodils along the side of a lake, blowing in the breeze with bright yellow flowers, reflected in the water in spite of the waves due to the wind. So this is a kind of expression that you can see that how beautifully he has written, that as he walks along, he sees a large area of daffodils along the side of a lake, blowing in the breeze with bright yellow flowers, reflected in the water in spite of the waves due to the wind. So there was no breeze, but still the daffodils were creating a wavy movement in the lake just because of the tide that were created by the current in the lake, and it looked very beautiful. The sight of the flower on the shore in the reflection cheers him greatly. To the poet, these flowers are not just pretty but cheerful and joyous company that brings him out of his loneliness. So here he tries to tell that the flowers are not only beautiful, are not only pretty, but they are cheerful and joyous that can make anyone feel good, feel better. And the flowers here are related as the company of the poet. And these flowers, the daffodils, have removed all his loneliness. Wait, it's not the fan, I think it's something else. Let me check. Now is it okay or not? Charu, please tell. Now is it fine? Okay. So here it says the poet, these flowers are not just pretty, but cheerful and joyous company that brings him out of his loneliness. Best of all, the poet finds that the memory of the sight of the daffodils stays with him, giving him companionship and joy when he is in vacant or in pensive mood. Pensive means sad mood. So the central idea of the poem is the expression of the comfort and cheering the author finds in the beauty of observing the daffodils. I hope that you people have understood this paragraph and noted down the important points. So these are the very important things that you can see on the screen, that is the examples of figure of speech. Just note it down. First figure of speech that has been used in this poem is alliteration. Just note it down. What does alliteration mean? It is the use of the same letter or sounds at the beginning of words that are close together. Alliteration का क्या मतलब होता है? Same letters या फिर sound का use होना, that they are very close enough together. Like in the first line you can mention it, note it down, lonely as a cloud. In second line, high over vales and hills. Third line, when all at once. Note that W and O have the same consonant sound. Beside the lake, beneath the trees. So these are the examples of alliteration that have been used in the poem. Next figure of speech is simile. S-I-M-I-L-E, simile. Simile means it expresses the resemblance of one thing to another of a different category. Okay, when two things of different category resemble with each other, then figure of speech is known as simile. Like comparison, using as. ज़्यादातर similes में हम लोग as use करते हैं. For example, the speaker solitariness to that of cloud, line 1. Like I wandered like a lonely cloud. I wandered like a cloud. So here the simile has been compared. Simile has been used, wherein the poet is walking lonely, just like the clouds hover in the sky. Next is personification and metaphor. Personification तो सबको पता ही होगा. The attribution of human characteristics to things abstract idea. Okay, when the non-living thing is compared with a living thing, that is known as personification, and it's an abstract idea. In line 1 you can find the example of personification, comparison of clouds to a lonely human. Line 3 and 4, comparison of daffodils to a crowd of people. As William Wordsworth saw a huge amount of daffodils, he stated that daffodils looked like a crowd. So the personification has been used. In line 4 and 6, comparison of daffodils to dancing humans. Okay, in line 4 and 6 you will find that William Wordsworth has jotted down the point wherein he highlighted that the daffodils seemed to be dancing. So these are the examples of personification. Apostrophe, it's very simple to understand. I saw a crowd, comma, a host, comma, of golden daffodils. The poet apostrophizes the daffodils and describes them in the large number of a crowd of people. Also, this is the one example. Second example is in such a jocund company. Jocund means a very jovial company, a happy company. Double inverted, the poet addresses the flowers as a human beings and describes them as happy company of good friends. So these are the two examples of apostrophe. Have you all noted? Yes or no? Only Charu and Aditi have written yes. What about others? Simile not understood. Okay, wait. Simile means when you compare two things of different category by using the word like or as, that is known as simile. Okay. पहली लाइन कोई बताएगा जहाँ पर लिखा था, पहली लाइन कोई टाइप करे जिसने शुरुआत में शायद किसी ने टाइप भी की थी. First line that is used in the poem to begin, that I wandered like a lonely cloud. Again, one of you can type it in the chat box. The same line, I think Janvi or maybe Aditi. Yes, correct. See Charu. It is given, I wandered lonely as a cloud. I here is a human being, and who is that human being? William Wordsworth. Cloud, we know, cloud is. So here in this line, what William Wordsworth is telling, that I wandered lonely as a cloud. Just like a cloud wanders in the sky from one place to another place, it floats. Similarly, William Wordsworth was also wandering all alone, lonely. So he has compared using which word? As. तो सिमिली में हम लोग जब भी कंपेयर करते हैं दो कैटेगरीज को by using as, then it is referred as simile, that is known as figure of speech. For example, one more example I would like to give. Usain Bolt runs as the bullet comes out from the revolver. So here the Usain Bolt, the running of Usain Bolt has been compared with the bullet that comes out from the revolver. Understood, Charu? Now have you understood? See, apostrophe means that is not that apostrophe that we use as a punctuation mark. Here apostrophe means something else. Like I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Now the golden daffodils has been compared as a crowd. Okay, तो यहाँ पर personification भी use हुआ है और apostrophe भी use हुआ है. Wherein the poet is creating a blend. Blend means a mixture of the personification apostrophe by using these lines. A host कौन होता है? जो वेलकम करता है. And who was welcoming at that time? Daffodils. Daffodils was welcoming to that scene, and who was the guest? Obviously William Wordsworth. So this is the example of apostrophe. Second is in such a jocund company. Okay, now here the William Wordsworth is mentioning one important point, that the flowers, the daffodils, are just like a company. Okay, just like a human being, which is giving him a very jovial and a joking company. So he is liking that scene and he wants to remain at that place for a very long period of time and to enjoy the company of the daffodils, as he was all alone, as he mentioned in the first line. Understood? Okay, welcome. There are some musical devices also. Consonants. Consonants means wandered and cloud. That and floats. Consonants का मतलब होता है usage of consonant words. Usage of consonant words. ये consonant sounds. Consonant sounds कौन से होते हैं? As we know that apart from A, E, I, O, U. So here you can see wandered, W, C, cloud. That में T लगा है and floats में F. Fluttering, dancing. Such, jocund. So these are consonant sounds. Assonance and consonants. Now let's talk about structure and rhyme scheme. The poem contains 4 stanzas of 6 lines each. In each stanza, the first line rhymes with the third and the second with the fourth. The stanza that ends with a rhyming couplet. Couplet means the poem that has been divided into 2 parts. ये भी poem 2 parts में divided है. First में क्या है कि he was feeling very lonely as he saw the daffodils. He became very happy. And in the second part, and the main thing that was highlighted in the poem, that whenever he was sad, whenever he is in pensive mood, he remembers the same daffodils and becomes happy. So the poem has been divided into 2 major parts. That is known as couplet. Wordsworth unifies the content of the poem by focusing the first 3 stanzas on the experience at the lake and at the last stanza on the memory of that experience. Now when we talk about meter is not relevant according to class 9th and 10th. मीटर से रिलेटेड जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं ये ग्रेजुएशन एंड पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन लेवल की होती हैं. Whosoever will opt BA English or MA English in future, then you will be able to understand what are meters. So this is of no use right now. So this was the main theme. I suppose that you people must have understood that how to write the answer, how to begin, what all key points you can mention, the figure of speech I suppose that everybody must have written. So these are the important points. So in future classes also we'll be discussing the important key points as well as the figure of speeches of different poems and the keywords, the analysis of the prose, along with Merchant of Venice and the grammar. Capitalization means when a particular word is used in a capital letter. One very good example I would like to give you regarding the capitalization. You must have seen भाई रूल इंग्लिश का. देखो सबसे पहली चीज़ क्या होती है, इंग्लिश का रूल क्या होता है कि फर्स्ट अल्फ़ाबेट ऑफ द लेटर शुड बी इन कैपिटल. ओके, first letter of the alphabet should be in capital, and when you write the sentence every letter should be small. This is the basic rule. But there are certain words that which we need to start with the capital, like in the sentence you are writing, and in the middle of the sentence you are supposed to write the word God. So God should be written with the capital G, not small g, because this is the divine, the God. Or you can write Taj Mahal, the Ganga. Okay, so this is known as capitalization. So there are certain words which needs to be capitalized, no matter whether they are being used in the middle of the sentence or the beginning or the last. Understood? But a grammar we are going to start in the next class positively, because let me tell you that I was so engaged these 2 days, Monday and today Tuesday, as I had to go to school. Okay, just half an hour back I came home. Just half an hour back I came home and I started with this topic. So I did not get time to manage the things, the whiteboard and all. So in the next class 100% we are going to discuss grammar. Is it okay with everyone? Okay, keep on practicing all these things. Okay, and use the keywords that I told you. You'll fetch very good marks. So till then, take care. Thank you so much. If you find any doubt, any problem, any query you have, you can directly ask through Wisdom Group. I'll revert it back. Thank you so much all of you.